So I am Joshua Earp, and it is my pleasure to be with you guys today. Everybody, please take out your phone right now. Everyone, please take out your phone. And add me on Instagram. It is joshua.earp. And that'll do more explanation than I could ever do up here on stage. So, anyway, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about SEO, of course. But SEO is more like a terminology and a method, and I want to cover a little bit of mindset, too. I was just actually consulting with Warren Buffett's former CEO. His name is Steve Rogers. He ran a company for Berkshire Hathaway. And he gave me this book, actually, which I'm going to be giving to one of you guys. But before I do that, I want to read one quote out of it. Would you guys like to hear one? Awesome. It doesn't have to do with SEO, though. But it'd be a lot cooler if it did. It says, "My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer," the boy told the alchemist one night as they looked up at the moonless sky. "Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams." So who wants this book? Yep, you raise your hand first. You got to come up and get it, though. Or I can throw it at you. Can you catch? All right, if he doesn't catch it, he can't have it. You can have it. So, that's a very powerful message. That book is called Lead into Gold. It has to do with alchemy, which stems from the words alchemet. I also speak over 60 languages. I first started learning 5, and then I found out that it all consists of prefixes and suffixes, and they all slightly differ. We're currently working on a Nobel Peace Prize project. We're rewriting neuroscience with my partner, Dr. Katsushi Arasaka, and that has to do with the saccadic eye movement with corollary discharge of central pattern generators. And what that means is it's the excitation before the inhibition. So it's not your eyes that see around you and then broadcast that message to your brain. It is your brain that begins to see whatever it is inside of you, and then your eyes broadcast that out. So it's the excitation before the inhibition. Does that make sense? And that's why it's really important for you guys to understand, because we often suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. And so, it's really helpful because this event is about transcendence. That's what this is about. It is about changing your mindset, also giving you some tactics and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's about changing who you are. And that book, Lead to Gold, written by Stephen Rogers, the former CEO for Warren Buffett, which I also consult with him spiritually, because I'm very well versed in ancient, hermetic, esoteric, occultic knowledge, which stems from Gnosticism. But that's a different talk. But it's very helpful to know because it's more than the transmutation of base metals into gold. It's the transmutation of who you are into who you're going to become. Because I struggled for many years, guys, many years, thinking that success was all about money. Thinking it was about cars or clothes or, I was buying into the propaganda. But, come to find out, success is not what you have, it's who you become. And that's the cool thing about social media, is it's an amplification device. Similar to if I play guitar, which I've been playing since I was 8 years old, and if I were to plug a guitar into an amplifier, it's going to amplify that sound. With social media, it allows you to plug yourself into it and broadcast who you are and attract more people around you that are like you. And so that's kind of how I got into SEO, because I knew that it intertwined with social media. A lot of people are one or the other, they're paid traffic. SEO and Google in particular is truly the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and nobody is paying attention to it. Who here does SEO? Very few people. You guys are going to make a lot of money because that is a huge opportunity. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It does not have to be difficile. It's actually very simple. It comprises of 2 elements. But before we get into the technical ability, I want to share with you guys something that I've learned. And that is that, in fact, this came from one of my clients, Walter O'Brien. He created this video game called Grand Theft Auto. You guys might have heard of that. He also has the #1 show on television called Scorpion on CBS, which just surpassed CSI's ratings. He is an incredible individual, much more to it than that. But he told me, he said, "Josh, 85% of your income, right, your financial success, comes from your EQ, not your IQ. So that is your emotional quotient. That is your ability to connect and speak with people, not your technical ability on, run this ad to this and go do this, blah, 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 which is very helpful Don't get me wrong, I'm by no means discrediting that. But we must come to the understanding of the esoteric before we go to the exoteric. Does that make sense? If not, then, here's Tom with the weather. So anyway, so we must understand that 85% of our income comes from our EQ, which is our emotional quotient, not our technical ability. Because success, I am thoroughly convinced that success is two things. Number one is getting in the room with the right people, and number two is doing something about it. And that is exactly what I've done, and that's what I want to teach you guys to do today. So, with SEO, search engine optimization, what an occultic metaphysical concept, right? I mean, it just sounds complicated. It's like search engine optimization. I barely know how to spell SEO. Well, the thing is it comprises of two elements. The Greeks, comprised of their occultic knowledge, called it the minor arcana or the major arcana. Or in SEO, it's called the on-page optimization and the off-page optimization. Who here knows what on-page optimization is? Cool. So it's how you optimize your website. So I don't care if you're doing Shopify, if you're running stuff to ClickFunnels, if you just have a normal website, whether it's YouTube videos, you must understand on-page optimization. And it begins with keyword research. I highly recommend that you guys take a look at your competitors, because your competitors have already put in all the hard work for you. They've already spent all the money testing everything and doing all the ads and finding out the best keywords to work for, to rank for. And my favorite tool to do that is called semrush.com. Once again, that is semrush.com. And it allows you to plug in a keyword or a URL, and it allows you to reverse engineer what is going on. Because it's all about reverse engineering. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want to pour gasoline into an engine that's already built. You don't want to have to build the engine yourself. And so once you go to SEMrush and you put in your top competitor, so if you're selling dog toys, then you just type in dog toys, put in the top ranking guy. It's going to spit out a list of keywords for you. And that list of keywords is going to be what that person is already ranking for. So we can kind of piggyback off of what's already going on. And once we have those keywords, you might be saying, Josh, look, that's great and all, but what do I do from there? Well, what you do is on-page optimization consists of three different things. So it's your URL, it is your title, and it is the anchor text of websites going to your page. And if you don't know what anchor text is, that is simply the blue highlighted portion. So if I go to a website and I'm reading an article, and it says, yo, click here, and I click there, well, that anchor text is yo, click here, if that makes sense. Without the yo, possibly. Which, by the way, my email just has yo in it. So that's what it comprises of. It's the URL. It does not have to be complicated. Steve Jobs said that simple can be harder than complex. Michelangelo said that we must see the angel in the marble and carve everything else away. And so that is what I've done for you guys. And we have an SEO course coming to the 4% very soon, so that's going to help a lot of people out. Now, once you have that keyword, let's say that it's dog toys, or somebody give me an example. Just yell a random keyword out. 4%, that's a good keyword. So, give me instead of a brand name, give me a keyword. What is it? Banana, okay, awesome. I'll make sure to bring my banana suit next time for you. That would be that'd be more viral, right? Which we'll talk about virality in a second. Yeah, we'll get Tim to do it. Exactly, wherever he's at. Hopefully he's around here. He's a good guy. So, once you have that keyword banana, for instance, right, you want to put it in your URL because Google is not they are not a human. They are a robot. And they cannot guess what you are about. They cannot guess what you want us to rank for. So you have to tell them. But you have to be careful because you don't want to over-optimize it. Because if I'm like domain.com/banana, and then my title is banana, and then my content's like, if you like bananas, then click this link, and the link says banana, right? So that's over-optimization. You're going to get slapped. That's what we call the Google slap. And so what you want to do is you just want to make sure that you put the keyword exactly the one you want to rank for. So if it's banana, it would be domain.com/banana. Does that make sense? And by the way, Albert Einstein also said that if you can't explain something in its most simplest form, then you don't know what you're talking about. So very, very simple. So it's the banana, domain.com/banana. The next thing is the title. Okay, so the Google bot actually reads from top to bottom, left to right. So it's similar to the way you and I read. Or if you're dyslexic like me, then you read backwards, right? But I'm actually not dyslexic, but little bad joke, right? Luckily, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm much better when I'm sitting down. But long story short, so there's a hierarchy to this, okay? So it's the URL is the topmost hierarchical, if that's even a word, position. So it's the most weighted position is the URL. After that is the title. So what you want to do is put the keyword in the title, like banana, but you want to make sure that you're not over-optimizing. So what I do is I throw other keywords in there. I'm like, yo, buy this banana, right? I'll just make sure I have it in there as the title. It doesn't matter what it says, as long as the keyword you want to rank for is in it. Now, if like the keyword you're ranking for is like 2 words or 3 words, make sure you get those words together in the title. Because if you put other words in between it, like the word in or and or whatever, it's just not going to work out very well. So we have that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the content. So you have to think about when you're ranking on Google, you have to look at it from a service provider perspective. So Google as a service provider, they want to display the best results to their audience. So how do they do that? Well, it's off the content and the relevancy. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have more content than your competitors. Because if you have less content than your competitors, Google's going to think that you are less important. So even on your Shopify stores or whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have a decent amount of content. At least 1,000 words. And you also want to make sure you don't say the keyword more than twice. Because if you say it more than twice, Google's going to be like, slap. And that's no good, trust me. I still have a red mark on my face from earlier. So is there any part of that that you guys don't understand yet? Because with WordPress, it's very simple. We recommend, if you use ClickFunnels, it's the same thing, just the URL, the title. Same thing with Shopify, it's the URL and the title. Does anyone not understand that? Yeah, go ahead. Yes, great question. In fact, the questions are the answer. And not only that, one step further, the quality of questions that you ask determines the quality of life that you live. So that is a great question. And to answer your question, the answer is that you do not want to have multiple pages competing for the same keyword, because going back to Google being a robot, they cannot think. And so with that being said, they're not going to be able to identify which one you want to rank for. So they're not going to rank either. Does that make sense? Cool. Well, then you screwed up. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say a different word besides screw, but you get it. Trying to keep it PG here. Maybe G, actually, which is funny because we're in the movie industry. We finance the biggest movies in Hollywood. So if anybody here is an investor or whatever, come see me afterwards. We also do celebrity endorsements. So we have over 500 celebrities all the way from Paris Hilton to Lindsay Lohan to Snoop Dogg that we can promote your product. So if you have like an e-commerce store, if you have like an offer you want to promote, definitely see me after this. So does that make sense though? So basically what you're going to have to do is go in there and you're going to have to de-optimize the site. So that means that you're going to have to take all those pages that are competing for that keyword and just take that keyword out and use a synonym, or what is known as a latent semantic index keyword, if you want to be fancy. But who wants to be fancy? That's too much work. All right, so anyway, so that's the on page. Now, you don't want to say your keyword a million times. You want to have more content. You also want to have YouTube videos on your website because, I know that a lot of us here are not money motivated like myself. Because whenever you are into materialism, you're actually operating within the lowest chakras, which is responsible for materialism, greed, wealth, power, control, and all those nasty things. So if anyone's like overly promoting materialism, you know that they're operating within the lowest standard of themselves. So the thing is, though, unfortunately, Google is money motivated, unfortunately. And Google, 97% of their money comes from advertising. Wow, can you imagine that? 97%. Probably even more now. Now, the thing is, YouTube is owned by Google. In fact, they bought it for, I believe, $6 billion, and they've been able to double it every single time, every single year. And that would make sense, because if we all go to YouTube and we try to watch a video, it's like either my client Ty Lopez, it's like, or the guy that teaches this course, Ty Lopez, trying to sell you stuff, or it's some other guy trying to sell you stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It might even be like for razors or shampoo, or it might even be whatever it is. We all know those annoying, pesky ads, right? Well, there's a lot of money to be made by being annoying, I'm just saying. But we'll talk about YouTube ads later. But for right now, we're just talking about Google's business model. So they make money off of advertising. That is what they do. And so if you put YouTube videos on your website, and I mean a lot of them, Google is going to rank your e-commerce store, your Shopify store, your ClickFunnels, your offer, your website, your video, whatever it is. They're going to rank it much, much higher than if you did not have YouTube on your site, because every time someone goes to your site and watches that video, they're going to be served an ad. And so that's going to make Google money. So it's in Google's best interest to, quote unquote, double dip and to do that. So anyway, that's a tip right there. Is this helpful at all, or should I stop? Okay. Yeah, that's a really old picture, by the way. At least they spelled my name right, though. Anyway, so yeah, like people give me crap all the time. They're like, "Oh, your hair looks like Justin Bieber," and I say, "Well, first of all, I've had this haircut since I was like in 7th grade, and you've probably never heard of the Beatles, which Paul McCartney is actually one of our clients, so that's pretty funny." But you gotta let people. They say don't try to teach a pig how to fly, because number one, it won't work, and number two, it bothers the pig, and number three, even if you could, it's just way too much energy, So I just say yes. I try to be like Justin Bieber. Blah, blah. Right. So anyway. So that is the on-page mechanisms, okay? Now, the other thing, which is funny because my buddy is the guy who financed Justin Bieber, Mike Jones. He was responsible for like 80% of all the robocalls back in the day. You guys remember those old robocalls? Well, that was my friend. I'll send you his email and you can cuss him out later. But anyway, long story short, that is the on-page mechanisms. Now, there's something called internal linking. So who here has a blog? Because if you don't have a blog, then you are majorly screwing up right now, like majorly. Like DJ Khaled would say, major, right? So the thing is you always want to be blogging. You just set aside a few topics. You can even use other people's content, just word it differently, whatever you got to do, because this is a algorithm perspective that I'm giving you guys. We can get into advanced neuro-linguistic programming concepts later, such as presuppositions, embedded commands, future pacing, etc., and conversion strategies. But for right now, we're just talking mainly algorithms, because that's what I'm an expert at, is reverse engineering algorithms. In fact, I am fully convinced that life itself has an algorithm, and that's why I started by saying 85% of your success comes from your EQ, not your IQ. So if you're one of those guys that are just sitting on the computer all day, you might want to reconsider, is all I'm saying. It's good to have that skill, but go network, go meet people. That's what my advice is. Now here's Tom with the weather. By the way, who is Tom? I don't know who this Tom guy is. This guy keeps talking about. But anyway, so when you're blogging, it's good to have it on a subdomain, because subdomains inherent penalties separately than the rest of the site. So if you have a subdomain in a blog and you're doing this crazy link building and you're doing all this stuff, you don't have to worry, because if it gets burned or penalized, it does not go over to the root domain, which is like domain.com. An example of a subdomain could be www. Anything before the dot is considered a subdomain. So going back to whoever has the most content wins, Galileo Galilei said that mathematics is the language in which God coded the universe. Pythagoras, early Freemasonic ancient mystery and school initiates such as Pythagoras also said that number rules the universe. There's a recurring theme here, isn't there? Where's Tom when you need him? So anyway, the thing is, it really is about the number or the amount of content that you have. Because if you only have a few pages on your site, especially with e-commerce stores, people are like the most lazy I've ever seen in my life with e-commerce. They're like, here's the product, go buy it, that works with paid traffic, but if you ever want to expand, if we want more than we've got to become more than we are, guys. And so that is something to keep in mind. So you want to have a subdomain, you want to blog regularly, and you also want to identify what is known as the Holy Grail keywords. You need to ask yourself, what are the keywords that my potential client would type in to find me online? And you need to optimize your pages for those keywords. So remember, put it in the title, put it in, mix it up with other words in the title, put it in the URL exactly, And then we're going to be covering anchor text here in a little bit. So same thing with YouTube videos. If you want to do affiliate marketing and you want to rank YouTube videos on the first page of YouTube, and you can have a link, an affiliate link in the description, that is a wonderful thing to do as well. I'll give you my affiliate link and you guys can do it. Which reminds me, there's a wonderful, just real quick, we're going to touch on time management. There's a wonderful book written on time management called Getting Things Done by David Allen. Who here has read that book? I have not, because unfortunately I just haven't had any time to read it. I told you, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm much better sitting down. So anyway, so the thing is so you have to have your on-page right. Okay, now let's talk about off-page optimization. Let's talk about actually ranking. So there's this thing called backlinks. A backlink is a website that goes and links to your website. So if my Facebook links to my Twitter, okay, then that would be an example of a backlink. It's not reciprocal linking. So another thing is, there's different tiers. So if my Facebook links to my money site, which is whether it be my e-commerce listing or whatever, and then I have my Twitter linked to my Facebook, which that Facebook links to my money site, that is called tier 2. Okay, so anything going directly to your money site is called tier 1 because it's the first tier. And anything that goes to those links is called tier 2. Anything that goes to those links is called tier 3. Does that make sense? Because I always say if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. All right, so anyway, so we got that. Now, one of the last things is that's really going to help you. This is going to be one of my big takeaways, and then we can open it up for Q&A, just so I can get a better idea of what you guys actually want to talk about or want me to help you with. But the main thing is, whether you're ranking e-commerce stores, YouTube videos, whatever, you need to know something called PBNs, and this is something that our SEO course teaches pretty what's the word? Descriptively. It's all over the shoulder. My grandma could even do it. I specifically designed it to be able to do that. And you could go from someone that doesn't even know how to spell SEO to becoming a search engine optimization expert, because we teach you how to reverse engineer the patents of Google and everything else. So, and it's not hard, by the way. If it was hard, then I'd probably forward you to, or if it was easy, I'd probably forward you to a coding course or something like that. But it really is all about your persistence. Albert Einstein said that persistence is more important than IQ. He also said, well, it wasn't him, but another individual said that a river cuts through rock, not due to its power, but due to its persistence. And that's why I opened up with that quote from that book, because it really is all about persistence, because no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. And it's all temporary failure, because in order to succeed, as Henry Ford said, we must double our rate of failure. In fact, the difference between a successful man and one who is unsuccessful is simply the fact that the successful man has failed way more times, and that is what is wrong with our education system, or as I like to call it, our indoctrination system, because they teach you that failure is wrong with a big F. Can I get a clap for that one? Yeah, they teach obedience, not intelligence, And even then, even if they taught intelligence, 85% of your income is not even from your intelligence. It's from your EQ. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, something to think about. But yeah, so that's why, I dropped out of high school when I was 17, because formal education, I did not go to college, because formal education will make you a living, maybe, and self-education will make you a fortune. And the thing is that, yeah, you guys can clap on that if you want. So, we really have to see the angel in the marble and carve everything else away, guys. There's a million things I could tell you about, a million things I can teach you about, but we really have to focus on what matters. What is the 80-20 rule? What is going to get us the most results? That's number 1 is getting in the room with the right people. Number 2 is doing something about it, okay? So anyway, that's why the school system is a little messed up, because they teach you failure is wrong, when in reality, as Henry Ford said, which I think he might be a little credible in this case, and success, he said that in order to succeed, you have to double your rate of failure. So the fear of failure is something that keeps people held back, that really does keep them held back, because the successful man has failed way more times. In fact, Bruce Lee also said that there is no such thing as failure until you admit defeat. So anyway, back to this SEO stuff. Got a little sidetracked, squirrel. All right, so the thing is so with SEO, so you have your on-page, right? That's very simple. Now let's talk about off-page before we open it up for Q&A. So off-page optimization. Sounds a little fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? So anyway, so off-page optimization. You know, websites are a lot like houses. If you stop paying your rent, guess what? You're gonna get evicted. If you stop paying your hosting bill, guess what? Your website's gonna go into a pool, an auction, back to from whence it came, as above, so below. A little esoteric hermeticism there. But it goes back to where it came from, and which in this case, most of the time is like a GoDaddy auction or any of the other registrars. And so what happens is whenever someone forgets to pay their rent or their hosting in this case, or their registration fee, the domain gets evicted back into this pool where guys like me that do SEO can go bid on those domains. And whoever has the highest bid loses. No, I'm just kidding. They're obviously the winner. You were like, what? I was believing everything you said until that point. So anyway, so that is what you want to do. Now you can use tools like we show you in the course, and we'll go ahead and just mention them here because you know, I'm all about providing value. In fact, if there's anything you guys want to write down that is massively transformational, it is this right here. And that is that when value is clear, decisions are easy. Once again, when value is clear, decisions are easy. And that is so true because so many people want to talk about price when they're selling something before they even tell you what they can do for you. You know, so instead of selling people what you think they want, listen to them and then sell them exactly what they do want. Hopefully that makes sense. And provide value, always lead with value. That's how I consult with multi-billionaires, TV stars, and celebrities, is because I lead with value. I get my foot in the door. Most people just want to like run straight in. I'm like, no, man, like, here, let me put my toe in, then my foot, then, you know, then I can get my friends in there too, or whatever. Because a rising tide raises all ships, you know? So anyway, so once these domains go into this auction pool, guys can bid on them. You can go to GoDaddy.com and just sign up for their auction. It's as simple as that. But you want to make sure that you're bidding on domains that are worthy. You want to make sure that, I'm going to give you the qualifications right now. So you want to make sure that they have good trust flow, which is a metric that is, it's, I don't know the word for it, but it's produced, for lack of a better word, by this company called Majestic.com. So if you go to Majestic.com and put in your URL or a potential domain that you want to bid on, then what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see how trustworthy that domain is. Another thing is domain authority. That's a metric indicated by a company called Moz, which is Moz.com. And Moz allows you to see the domain authority of your URL. And I know I'm speaking Greek to a lot of people in here. Basically, domain authority is the amount, it's a score from 1 to 100, and it indicates the amount of links going towards that URL. So the purpose is, so we've set up our money site, our e-commerce store, our YouTube video. We've done the on-page optimization. We've done the keyword research, right? That's easy. Now, what we want to do is go to GoDaddy, and we want to bid on some domains, and we show you really, really fast ways to do this in the course. We're not going to have enough time to cover everything. But long story short is you go and buy these domains and acquire them, and you host them on different IP addresses like we show you. And what's going to happen is you can upload your own content and do a backlink from that URL over to your money site. And as these backlinks come into your money site, it's going to rank it on the first page of Google if you have enough links and enough high-quality links. And same thing with a YouTube video. Do the same thing, just throw the links to a YouTube video. It's going to rank. I even add a little bit of social engagement to it, so Google thinks it's going viral. And then it actually goes viral. Fake it till you make it, right? The other thing is, you know, like say you're doing an e-commerce store. So all you do is you just buy the domains and you link build to your e-commerce store, to the pages that you want to rank. And let me tell you guys something. 90% of all online experiences, okay, we're not talking about anything else except just generally online experiences, begin with a search engine. 90%, okay? 75% of those people Do not go past page 1. Who here goes past page 1? If you raise your hand, you're looking at something you shouldn't be looking at. So the other thing is, sorry, I couldn't help it. So the other thing is, 70 to 80% of those people, they do not click on advertising. Who here goes to Google and just starts clicking on ads all day long? Right? Exactly. And once again, if you are, then you're probably looking at something you shouldn't be. And so anyway, long story short is, you guys need to be using SEO. Success is doing what the failures refuse to do. You don't want to know how many people are refusing to do SEO for some BS excuse that they keep telling themselves. In fact, the only thing that's standing between you guys and success is the same bull BS. I don't know if there's any kids in here, but it's the same story that you're telling yourself. We can either make money or we can make excuses, but we can't make both. And our mind is a lot like a parachute. It works best when open, and if it remains closed for too long, then it will kill you sooner than expected. Okay, so anyway, long story short, build links, be happy, make money. So Q&A, let's go ahead and, we want to call Victor up here? Or? Yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. What is it? And then whoever's throwing this, just tell me to shut up whenever, and it's less energy for me, so. Yeah, so PBN stands for the word private blog network. It is essentially an aged domain that someone forgot to pay their hosting that has great backlinks going to it, and you are simply repurposing that for your money sites, whether it be you want to rank a YouTube video, you want to become famous on YouTube, just like some of our clients and celebrities. If you want to become, one of the richest men in the world, like the former CEO for Warren Buffett that we teach, it just kind of depends on what your goal is, but it doesn't have to be financially related. In fact, most people that are they're operating within a lower chakra. So anyway, any other questions? No, I cannot. No, I'm just kidding. She said, will you say the questions? Was that a good start? 2 gold stars or just 1? I get 2 gold stars, right? Okay, so any other questions? Because remember, the only stupid question is one that you don't ask. Yes?
The frequency to really leverage?
You want to ideally have someone else do it, because if you're trading your time for money, then your time is not yet worth enough to sell. So you want to have someone else doing it for you. And if you're not to that point yet, don't be afraid, don't worry. Because by the way, guys, worrying is wishing for what you don't want to happen. What we focus on expands. Where focus goes, energy flows. And if we focus on what we don't want rather than what we do want, we're going to get it. So anyway, to answer that question, sorry, I should be a politician, right? Like, that question, well, the answer is red. Anyway, so the answer is as much as possible, okay? As much as possible, but, what was the question? Okay, I forgot you guys can't hear. So the question is, how often should I be blogging? The answer is as much as possible, minimum 2 to 3 times a week, minimum. Because then Google's going to think you're not relevant. If you just have like a 1-page website or 5 pages, and and by the way, you want to do internal links too, whenever you're blogging. So you just want to link from your blog post to other pages on your own site. That's why Wikipedia ranks at the top for so much stuff, because if you literally look on their website, it's nothing but internal links. You back there. We might have to pass a microphone back there. What is what? A quality link. So that's why I was telling you it has to have high trust flow. So if you go and you put the URL into majestic.com, if it has a trust flow of less than 15, then you know it's bad. Curated content. He said, what about curation? Curating content is okay to do, but make sure it's on a subdomain, because subdomains inherit penalties separately than the rest of the site. So if you do get slapped for it down the road, you're not going to have to risk your business. Yourself. Sorry? Do I recommend buying backlinks? Yes, I do. In fact, that's what I was just describing how to do. Oh, you meant like from third-party services? I wouldn't recommend it unless you're going to do it through a 301 redirect. So if you go buy a domain Okay, this is like a major tip, major key, like DJ Khaled would say. So you go buy a domain you make sure you have the keyword in it that you want to rank for. So if it's dog toys, you go get dogtoys.com. If that's taken, you go to get dogtoys123.com or whatever's available. And then what you do is you do what's known as a 301 redirect. You don't even have to really even know what a 301 is. You're just forwarding the domain. If you go to GoDaddy, like they will gladly walk you through it. It's literally one button. You buy the domain and you're like, yo, 301, click, and then it redirects to your domain. So the answer is if you're buying links or doing some type of shady link practice like that, which we typically don't recommend, but if you're gonna do it anyway, then we recommend doing it through a 301 redirect, so that way if anything ever happens, you can undo that 301 with the click of a button, and the penalty that you did get is now completely gone. Any other questions before I go check the weather? Yes, yourself. How do you know when Google slaps you? Well, it used to be a lot more cut and dry. They used to send you this nice little message in Google Webmaster Tools like, yo, we slapped the crap out of you. And then you usually reply saying, you know, please save my firstborn son, you know, blah, blah. And they say, no, I'm taking him. So that means they're not gonna give you your stuff back. But recently, what they've changed is they decided, look, instead of us telling people that they're doing wrong, we're not even gonna tell them, and we're gonna make them keep wasting time and keep wasting money, and we're never gonna rank them, and they're gonna become so frustrated that they're finally gonna give up and say, screw SEO, I'm gonna go onto paid advertising, which is what they want you to do, because 97% of their revenue comes from those annoying ads. And by the way, there's a lot of money to be made by being annoying. So any other questions? But to elaborate a little bit on that, you just wanna make sure that, you know, that you're just, you know, Benjamin Franklin said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So you just want to make sure you do stuff right from the beginning. So I would recommend like taking a course or learning from someone that actually knows what they're talking about. Any other questions? And by the way, I don't know who's like in charge of all this, but just like boo me off stage whenever you're ready. So you wanna go real quick or?
You guys having fun? Josh Earp, everybody. Hey, you guys are on the roll with questions here, man. Good stuff, yeah? So here's what we're doing, you guys. I know there was a lot of questions. We're trying to stay on schedule, right? And so we have more trainings and more content that we're going to be covering here, but we need to be as close to, you know, on time as possible. Here's what I'll tell you. SEO is something that would be very, very, very beneficial for everybody to learn, master. Okay, not just learn, but master, especially when you have your home online, because not only can you sell products through SEO, you can create consultancy if you wanted to, right? Yeah. So you can do so many things. You can serve medical, you can serve, you know, other industries, insurance. You can rank other people. You can take on clients, charge them $5 grand a month or 10 grand a month, right, and run their SEO services, right? By having them again come to your house, right, to your house that we're talking about on Wednesday, you will have that ability. Is that cool or cool? Yeah? Everybody, Mr. Josh Earp. Appreciate it, brother.